help defray the costs of sending young men to seminary. You'll find information on how to donate in today's bulletin, on our website, and on our Facebook page. Now more than ever, our church needs good and holy young men to enter seminary, and your generosity would greatly help that. Thank you. My friends, we are definitely living through some dark times, especially the last 6 months or so between the presidential election, the pandemic, and the violence and rioting. While we as Catholics have a responsibility to protest racial injustice, we have seen recent events hijacked by evil. Peaceful protests do not morph into violent riots. The devil exists, and we need to fight against him. If you need more proof that evil exists, you need look no farther than Kenosha, Wisconsin. And that, my friends, is too close to home. The vivid imagery in the days following the police shooting of Jacob Blake shows a town in devastation. Rioters blocked traffic. They stole gasoline from a nearby gas station to start fires that took out numerous small businesses, car lots, an apartment building, a church, and a Family Dollar store. Other businesses that were not burnt down had their windows smashed and their doors smashed, and they were looted. Antifa members were bussed in from other states to wreak havoc. In a brutal assault, a 70-year-old Kenosha man trying to save his business to fend off looters with a fire extinguisher was hit in the head with a plastic bottle filled with concrete, breaking his jaw in 2 places. Things could have been a lot worse. Wednesday night, if local law and federal law enforcement officials had not stopped an out-of-state convoy that was bent on destruction, with vehicles filled with fuel cans, illegal fireworks, helmets, gas masks, and body armor. If you are not convinced that there is an evil, organized agenda with these incidents, you are misinformed, probably thanks to the mainstream media. It is highly organized, it is evil, and it is a danger to our country. If we are offended or appalled by these things, we are considered ignorant or ill-bred or labeled a racist. The mainstream media have displayed a relentless determination to advance and encourage this moral meltdown. They have portrayed months of lawlessness and rioting across our nation as legitimate expressions of free speech, insisting that it has been mostly peaceful, even though the destructive result is clearly evident to anyone with eyes to see. And it seems that nothing is more politically incorrect than religious belief. Genuine faith in God is commonly represented as dangerous, disqualifying disorder. Just this week, for example, former UN Ambassador Susan Rice, speaking live on a national news program, suggested that Secretary of State Mike Pompeo does not qualify to serve in public office because he is overtly religious, which in itself is problematic. There is zero tolerance in today's culture for any religious faith. Hall of Fame coach Tony Dungy has said, "Today we are a divided country. We are divided racially, politically, and socioeconomically. And Satan is laughing at us because that is exactly what he wants. Dysfunction, mistrust, and hatred help his kingdom flourish." We have to recognize that we are not fighting against other people. We are fighting against Satan and his kingdom of spiritual darkness. How did we get here? How did evil become so rampant? Archbishop Sample of Oregon gave this answer: "So many of our problems today are because society has largely turned away from God." As Catholics, the sad truth is that we have allowed our faith to become lukewarm. We are afraid to go against the culture of this world that is increasingly foreign and even hostile to the teachings of Christ. Most of us prefer to conform to the standards of this world. We watch helplessly as society distorts the truth and mocks our moral and spiritual values. We are passive and timid, unwilling to take up the cross. We cannot stand up for the truth and for what is right because we do not want to be condemned by modern society as insensitive, intolerant, and politically incorrect. We do not want to be persecuted and detested. Sadly, we are all too careful not to talk about the intrinsic evil of abortion, contraception, divorce, and same-sex marriage for fear of offending the feelings of others. We have a fear of addressing controversial issues because we don't want to offend anyone, or we don't want our parish to be perceived as unwelcoming. Sadly, it seems that many would prefer to offend God rather than other people. My friends, whether we like it or not, and most likely we don't, in our readings today, Jesus and Paul are saying that we have to choose between the world and Jesus, or more accurately, between ourselves and Jesus. Now, this can take many forms: personal convenience versus another's need, personal opinion versus gospel teaching, easy Christianity versus the call to Christian perfection. And it's never easy. It never was, and it never will be. That's why Jesus calls it a cross. Monsignor Charles Pope, in an article entitled "Comfort Catholicism Has Got to Go," says that it seems there is no awareness that we are at war and that Catholics need to be summoned to sobriety, increasing separation from the wider culture, courageous witness, and increasing martyrdom. We need to take up the cross. My friends, we are called to be the light of the world, with Christ shining in us. Yet we have preferred to hide our light under a basket and just lay low. More than ever, we need to shift towards being distinctive from the culture that we have refused to critique. and we need to lead a call to reform. More than ever, our faith needs to shine brightly and clearly in our churches and in our community. And if a world now accustomed to great darkness calls our light harsh, so be it. If our light does not shine, there is no light at all. Our Catholic faith is the sole and last hope for this world. It has always been so. As St. Paul reminds us, we must be transformed. We need to discern what is the will of God, what is good and pleasing and perfect, even if it goes against the grain of the culture. We need to take up the cross and follow Jesus, even if it means persecution. Cardinal Leo Burke, a great patriarch of the Church, further emboldens us to take up the cross, saying, "There is no question that we are living in the most troubled times. Fundamental truths about human life, about marriage and the family, and about the conscience are being called into question by threatening the lives of individuals and of our society. But we are full of courage because we know that our Lord is with us. He's called us to be his soldiers on the ground, working with him for the salvation of the world." Bishop David Jenke of the Diocese of Peoria said, "The days in which we live now require heroic Catholicism, not casual Catholicism. We can no longer be Catholics by accident, but instead Catholics by conviction." My friends, our faith in Jesus Christ calls us to greatness, holiness, virtue, to eternity, and to heaven. It calls us to take up the cross. Every time we come into this church to go to Mass, we need to look at that cross. Look at that cross that helps to remind us of the saving passion of our Lord Jesus Christ and of his constant reproach. "Whoever wishes to come after me must deny himself, take up his cross, and follow me." My friends, we are at war for our own souls and the souls of the people we love. We are at war for the soul of this culture and our nation. I urge you to take up the cross, be transformed, be the light to a darkened world. In closing, I echo the words of Father Rick Heilman in saying, "Let us rise up and take back our nation. Let us become once again one nation under God." God bless you, and God bless the United States of America.